Hey guys, my name is Sivagamy, Siv for short, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So I know it's been a little while, but I'm back for 2021. This year I aim to be productive, make loads of YouTube videos, and for that reason I am bringing you a classic book haul. So the first book I'll be presenting to you guys is by Charlotte Bronte, called Jane Eyre. Do you not think these books are so pretty? So the ones I'll be presenting to you guys in this video are by the Macmillan collection, and they all look like this. They're so pretty. So a lot of elements in this book reflect Charlotte Bronte's own life, such as, she was a governess just like the character in the book. Her sisters in real life died of tuberculosis, just like Jane Eyre's friend in the book dies of TB. And also, Charlotte Bronte and her sisters, they went to school that was run by a strict headmaster, just like in this book. And basically the character, so Jane Eyre, she goes off to this school to work as a governess for Mr. Rochester, and they basically fall in love. But then she finds out that he's actually married, and I think she makes a discovery on their wedding day. So obviously this book is going to be full of drama, and it's meant to be like a romance, and I think I'll really enjoy it. And also they have this movie on Netflix, so I love doing that. I love like reading a book and then watching a movie, so I really look forward to this one. So the next one is The Little Woman by Louisa May Alcott, and this is meant to be a children's classic, which I still haven't read. So this looks at the March sisters who are taken care by their mother whilst their father is away fighting the American Civil War. And from what I've heard is that everyone falls in love with the March sisters. So I think you can really relate to one of them, if not all of them. And this is meant to be a tale of love, family, like war struggles, but also having personal ambitions that clash with your responsibilities. And what I like about this particular edition is that it also includes the sequel of Good Wives, which picks up the girl stories 3 years later. And also the cool thing about this is that a movie was made quite recently. I think it was like last year. Well, now we're in 2021, so it was like 2 years ago, with Emma Watson in it. And I still haven't watched it, so I look forward to it. So the next one is Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Montgomery, I don't know how you pronounce it, but I've already started reading this one and I absolutely love it. I'm like 100 pages in and it's so good, honestly. So Anne, she's an orphan. She's not like the typical, I kind of want to say like the typical orphan who you think she's really quiet and like is really shy and reserved. She's the complete opposite. She is so loud, she's so witty, she just speaks her mind, and she's so imaginative, like she's so creative, and she's so happy when she finds out that she's going to be adopted. She gets sent away to his farm and she just, is so excited. It's literally like her dream has come true. And when she turns up there, it turns out that they didn't ask for a girl, they wanted a boy to help out on the farm. So she is so devastated and she does not try to hide the disappointment one bit. I don't know, it's like she's just one of those people that you just love, and I really can't wait to finish this book. And they also have this on Netflix as a TV show called Anne with the E. So yeah, I think this one is really good. So the next book is Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. So this was actually written in French, and you can find, translated copies of this, which I regret buying this one because I didn't realize that it was written by a French author. So, one day I might just, if I make it on YouTube, I get to this level of like doing giveaways, I will definitely give this one away. But I think this one sounds so good. So basically it's based in Paris, and Madame Bovary is a beautiful woman who is married to a doctor, but she finds her life very boring. So she seeks, that romance, fantasies, like all that action in books. And she basically, wants a life full of passion. So what she does is that she goes on to have affairs, obviously behind her husband's back, which still leave her pretty unsatisfied. So this must have been such an interesting book to come out like back in the 1837, because adultery back in the days was seen it was such a big taboo, like it was like, oh my God, the biggest sin that one could make. So you can imagine the moral outcry from people. So I think, this one is really intriguing. So the next one is Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. So obviously this couldn't be a classic book haul without, some William Shakespeare. And I think everyone knows the story, of course. So, Romeo and Juliet are meant to be these star-crossed lovers who can't be together because of their families. and in the end they are dead, they die. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty short, and what's interesting is that it's written in the form of a play, and I can't remember if I like those kind of books or not. And obviously the English is not like, the English that we speak now, there is like it's like old English. So I think this one will be interesting, and I can't wait to see what the hype is all about of Romeo and Juliet. So the next one is Heidi by Joanna Spiri, who is a Swiss author. So, when you think of Heidi, you think of Switzerland straight away. And basically Heidi, she's a little girl who's an orphan who gets adopted by her grandfather. And her grandfather first is not too keen on having this new responsibility, but she wins him over, and everyone around her loves her. And later on, she basically moves to Frankfurt to work in this wealthy household. And while she lives there, she feels homesick and she's really unwell. And I think the doctor recommends her to go back home. And basically, this book looks at, the mountain life versus like the urban life. And I can so relate to this book. I'm like the brown version of Heidi. I remember when I used to live in London, I would look out my window hoping that I would see mountains. All I would see was grey buildings and bad weather. Understand, the homesickness, and I think I can relate to this book. So the next 3 books I'll be mentioning are by Jane Austen. And the first novel she published was in 1811 called Sense and Sensibility. So here's the book. And basically this looks at the story of 2 sisters. So the first one is called Eleanor, and she's meant to be like, good sense, good judgment, she's quite like discreet, whilst Marianne is the complete opposite. She follows her heart, she's kind of like reckless, emotional, and they both soon come to realize that sense must mix with sensibility if they want to find love in a world where money and status play a big role. The next one she published is Pride and Prejudice. I think most people will know the story of this one. I remember as a kid watching Pride and Prejudice, which is like the Bollywood version of this book. I remember Aishwarya Rai in it, and I'm pretty sure I remember the story. I don't know if it's exactly the same one or not, but I assume it is. And this basically follows the story of Elizabeth and her beau, Mr. Darcy, and it follows like the turbulent love story and how, in the end they get together. And this is meant to be like one of her best like novels. Jane Austen even describes this one as like her own darling child. So I look forward to reading this one. The next one by Jane Austen is Mansfield Park, and I really like the cover of this book. I think it's really pretty. So this one looks at Fanny Price, who's an orphan, and she gets adopted by her uncle who has children of his own. And Fanny Price, she doesn't get on with her cousins. She only gets on with one of them called Edmund. And basically over the years, this friendship turns into a romance. And their lives, are pretty, I think, platonic, like not much happens. But on the arrival of these siblings called Henry and Mary, things are going to get disrupted. And I think this book looks at the different love interests and to see like who in the end Fanny Price is going to end up with. So the next one is Emma, and I find this one quite funny. So Emma, she lives in a village and she's set out to be a matchmaker, and her first suitor is Harriet Smith, for whom she tries to match him with someone, but it turns into like a complete disaster by like misunderstanding and like chaos. And I think Emma kind of like questions herself afterwards. So I think this one is meant to be like quite funny. So the next one is called Persuasion, and this looks at the life of Anne Elliot, who is happily engaged to Frederick Wentworth. And basically her friend convinces her that she can do better and that he's poor. So she convinces her to break off the engagement, which Anne Elliot does. However, she does regret it afterwards and she feels, sad about it. And 8 years later, they both still remain unmarried. And Frederick Wentworth comes back as their successful captain and he's rich. Whereas Anne, she is Anne and the family, they're on the verge of ruin. So the question is, are they going to get back together or not? Right. So the last one by Jane Austen is Northanger IB, and this one looks at the story of Catherine. So Catherine is meant to be like this, young, quite naive, innocent woman. And this is meant to be like a gothic novel. And Catherine herself loves like gothic novels. She like throws herself into like reading all these kind of books, which influences like her perceptions on life. And in the book, she moves to Bath and she is convinced that a sinister crime has happened at Northanger IB, and she's like, I think, determined to like resolve it. So I think it's quite different from my other reads. This is not like necessarily a, just a pure romance book. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed this classic book haul, like Macmillan special edition. And if you guys have enjoyed it, please let me know, because I've also ordered loads of other classics, which I could make a part 2 to this video. If you have liked this video, please give it a like. And also, I forgot to mention earlier about Happy New Year. I hope this year, is going to be better than last year, and that everything you set out to do for this year will happen. So anyway, I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.